Hey everybody, how are you? John here. While I have been doing a lot of investor series videos, this video today is about credit. I actually was, originally started doing videos on credit here on YouTube, and I also did a video earlier this year, which a lot of people have seen. I've kind of have it in some of my emails and stuff like that, and it's how to raise your credit score in 1 hour or less. This video is a little bit different. I wanted to kind of go through. There's somebody I followed on YouTube for quite a while. His name is Graham. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but Graham Stephan or Graham Stephen. I think it's Graham Stephan or Stefan. And he's got like 2.6 million followers, which is kind of funny because CNBC has like 1 million followers, and then like Bloomberg has got not even a million. So it's kind of funny that these people have 2 and 3 and 4 times the amount of followers that these large broadcasting facilities have. Kind of fascinating to me. But anyway, he actually did a great video on how to fix a credit score fast, and I figured instead of just giving you all the material, which I can certainly do, and you can look at my other video where I show you how to raise your credit scores in 1 hour or less. You can go through all that, of course, but then there's another area here where he talks about collections, late payments, of course, and then collections and bankruptcies and foreclosures. Graham was a real estate agent for a while. I don't think he's a real estate agent anymore. Maybe he is. I don't know. But with 2.6 million followers on YouTube, I don't think you need to be a real estate agent any longer. But basically, he has quite a bit of experience with bankruptcies and foreclosures, being a real estate agent and helping people buy and sell homes for a number of years. So anyway, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to flip open this video. And just so you know, I do have actually programs for all these different areas of credit. I talk about credit a lot. I've got a lot of different products related to credit. I speak to people all the time who have average or below average credit, and then people who have excellent or good credit. Even people with excellent or good credit, a lot of times, have difficulties as well, because, well, the reality is credit is really only one component, when trying to go and get a loan or any sort of lending decision, right? If you actually have a property and you're trying to refi or get a home equity loan or consolidate debt from your home or one of your investment properties, back years ago, back during the financial crisis of 2008 all the way up to 2012, I think 2012 was probably the bottom of the real estate market. But basically, there's something called LTV, which is loan to value. So, back then, I mean, all the properties were, I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of properties had situations where the actual value of the property was lower than the loan, and there's no way to do a loan on that, right? So in the terms of any sort of a secured loan on a property like refi, home equity line or loan, something like that, LTV is one factor. The second factor is credit, of course. And then the third factor, which is a factor everywhere, is debt to income ratio, the DTI, right? So even people with excellent credit still have DTI that they have to deal with. And a lot of folks just, have a limited amount of income sometimes, and they can only qualify for so much if they've got, other debts that are outstanding. So even folks with excellent credit, can have a lot of issues getting new loans. So let's go ahead and hop over to it, and we're going to talk about some of these. I'm going to go ahead and chime in here and talk about some of these, items that he talks about, and we'll go from there, okay?
What's up, you guys? It's Graham here. So a few weeks ago, I made a video going over all of the techniques and tricks that you could use to get past that legendary 800 credit score, all without costing you any money out of pocket. And even though those strategies work really, really well, especially if you destroy the like button, I felt like it would be a good idea to make a follow-up video to that.
I haven't said that much, but you're welcome to do that for me too.
For anyone without a good credit score who wants to know how to turn that around and fix it as soon as possible. So that means that if your credit score is under about 680 or so, this video is for you. Because if you don't make an effort to get this handled, it will cost you money, and no one likes being costed money. Just think of it this way: if you don't have a good credit score and you don't take the time to fix it, you're going to be charged a higher interest rate anytime you apply for a credit card, an auto loan, a mortgage, you name it, it's going to cost you more money. Or they're just not going to give you the loan in the first place, and I'm not sure which one of those is worse. So here's exactly what you could do about it and how you can fix it, even if you have late payments and accounts and collections. And let's set a good expectation here that none of this is going to happen overnight. It's not like you're going to do all of this and then tomorrow you're going to be rolling in mortgages and loans and money. That's not how it works. But I will tell you that this is going to help and make a huge difference over the next few weeks to few months. And all it takes is a small amount of effort on your part to actually follow these techniques, and obviously to also smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Show you how to run your credit entirely for free. In fact, creditsesame.com was the website that sponsored one of my recent videos, and even though they're not sponsoring this one, they are a fantastic service, and I highly recommend them and use them myself. Then, in addition to that, you're entitled to a free credit report every year from annualcreditreport.com. They'll give you actual information about your credit report that's fully...
All right, everybody, I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to let him talk. But just so you know, if you go to annualcreditreport.com, yes, you can get your credit report, pretty much once per year for free. But annual credit report, is that what it's even called? Annualcreditreport.com. They don't actually give you a credit
fantastic
score.
Service, and I highly recommend them and use them myself. Then, in addition to that, you're entitled to a free credit report every year from annualcreditreport.com.
Yes, annualcreditreport.com. They give you your credit report once a year, but they don't give you your score. And just so you know, they link you to Experian, Equifax, and Transunion so that you can go there and then go buy your score. So basically, I don't know why he didn't include that information, but that's the reality of it, is they don't actually give you your score. So they don't give you that much. I mean, yeah, you have your credit report, which is helpful, but there's plenty of places that you can go to actually get your free credit score. And then also he mentioned Credit Sesame. I don't know if he knows this, but Credit Sesame doesn't actually give you your FICO. What you need is you need your FICO. You need to know what your FICO is at each of the three bureaus. And the reason is that 90% of all lending decisions are still made according to your FICO score. I actually, one thing I talk about towards the end of my videos is I have a credit and wealth blueprint. And in my credit and wealth blueprint, it's got, not only does it have this 5 guaranteed credit cards that you can grab, but also I've got a guide at the end. And the guide at the end of it it's like 15 pages, and it's got all the U.S. groups that give you a free credit score. Yes, it does have all the groups that give you a Vantage score. So the majority of the places like Credit Sesame and Credit Karma and all that, they're giving you your Vantage, which really isn't that useful because, again, 90% of lending decisions are made according to your FICO. My guide, actually, I've gone out there, I found all the places that exist that are going to give you a free FICO, right? Yeah, free FICO. Going to Experian is kind of obvious. You can go to Experian and just sign up for an account, and they'll give you your free Experian FICO. You have to pay for your Equifax and your Transunion. You have to pay Experian for that if you want to pay them for that, right? But in my guide, I show you all of the financial institutions that give you a free FICO, and then the corresponding bureau that FICO applies to, right? So, for example, you need to know Discover gives you a free FICO, and they give you a free FICO, which is your TransUnion. So you need to know what all three are because of basically, number one, a lot of lenders will use the middle score. So they'll go find out what all three are, and they'll just use the middle number. Or they're going to use a bureau that you don't really know which one they're using. So in that case, there's really no way around it. You have to go and figure out what all three are, and you can do that for free. My guide is only $7, just so you know. In my guide, I also cover investing. I cover online income. I cover credit, of course, and then I cover business credit and then financial independence. And the guide's only $7. Okay, let's go back to what he has to say.
They'll give you actual information about your credit report that's fully up to date every 12 months. So pick one of those options and then begin reviewing your credit report. Now, as a quick side note, if any website out there wants you to pay for your report or score, then I wouldn't recommend doing it.
Just so you know, Experian, you can pay Experian for your Equifax FICO and your TransUnion FICO, and that's really not that big of a deal. I mean, people pay for their credit scores all the time because they're in a situation where they have to close escrow or something like that.
There's so many free services out there that will show you everything you need to know about your credit score without spending a single penny, so I wouldn't recommend spending any money if you don't have to, and there you go, I just saved you $9.95. Next, once you have your report, you're going to be going through and reviewing it to find out exactly what's impacting your score negatively, and typically it's going to be one of these. Number one, maybe you just don't have enough credit. If you're just building your credit score and you don't really have that much information to begin with, then it's not really likely that you're going to have a high score that quickly. If that's the case, go and watch my...
That might be the case if you're super young and you just have no credit accounts. In that case, I actually did, however, I did an authorized user video a while ago. I'll go ahead and I'll link that in this right here above so you can go reference that video if you'd like to see it.
my other video, which I'm going to be linking in the description, and that's going to show you exactly what to do step by step. The second, probably one of the most common reasons for a bad credit score is, I shudder to say this, a late payment or late payments. This is something that will impact your credit score for 7 years, or basically as long as you're going to have bad luck if you break a mirror indoors. So I'll show you how to fix this shortly. Not the mirror, by the way, the credit score. I can't help you if you got 7 years bad luck if you break a mirror inside, but I can help at least improve your credit score. The third, look to see if you have any accounts in collections, and if you see this, it's pretty bad. This is what happens when you've had such a late payment that the lender just gives up on you and then writes it off as a total loss. Then they go and sell that delinquent debt to a third-party collections agency who buys that debt usually for pennies on the dollar. And usually this is going to happen once you're over 150 days late on a payment. Now fourth, look for any maxed out.
Yeah, it is pretty bad, but if you're in that situation, some of you folks are where you've got lots of late payments or you got accounts in collections. The reality is there's a lot of things that you can do on your own to correct it, or to at least start to correct it. I mean, obviously you can go and pay people to help you correct it, which is a wise choice if you have the money lying around. But the fact is that you either do it yourself or you got to get somebody to do it. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Out amounts in your credit report. This means that maybe you have a credit card where you've spent up to the available limit, or you're just borrowing as much money as humanly possible without paying down the balance. Now, if this is you, just be aware that your total credit utilization, or in other words, how much credit you're borrowing based off the on your credit report, so this should not be a complete surprise. Hopefully, but there are instances where identities are stolen or things are misreported, so it's certainly worth it to go and check just to make sure that everything is as it should. And then from there, you can figure out how best to handle that situation to increase your credit score. So in terms of what you can actually do about all of this, let's start right here with late payments, and this stays in your credit report for 7 years. Now here's how this works. Lenders typically report late payments to the credit reporting agencies once they're more than 30 days late. So that means, for instance, if you have a credit card payment that's due on the 1st, but you forgot to pay it on the 1st and you pay it on the 10th, then chances are nothing is going to happen except the credit card company might charge you a late fee, which they'll almost always.
Okay, so late payments are kind of obvious. We're going to go through that, but basically just if you think about a late payment, it's pretty simple. If you get one late payment, it's really going to affect your score. I think I had a late payment within the last 2 years, and I was actually able to get it off. I think it was with Capital One, and they were pretty good at getting it off for various reasons. And it really had to do with something goofy like online bill pay or something like that. And it literally will hit you like 50 to 100 points. FICO, that is, right? So the crazy thing is you have one late payment, and that can be on your record for 7 years. So the fact is that he just I don't really know if he needs to talk that much about a late payment. It is what it is. It's obvious. You got to correct them, right? And having a 30-day late payment is a lot better than having a 60 or 90-day late payment. So the best thing to do is to get in touch with your creditor, right? Whoever that is, and to try to work some sort of payments out and try to get back on track. That's the best way, because as time goes on, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Okay. The next thing we're going to go into is we're going to go into collections, and then bankruptcy and foreclosures.
Zero cost to you. So once you knock out those late payments, let's go on to the next one. Accounts and collections, and this stays in your make a huge due in the payment.
So here's the quick list of it. So try to negotiate. So you want to try to negotiate for the removal of the late payment. You want to ask for the removal. I mean, maybe they'll do it out of courtesy, and you want to look for errors. What you can do always is you can always go and dispute. You can dispute these items in your credit report, right? Keep in mind, if you go dispute them, you can dispute them on each bureau, right? Equifax, Experian, and Transunion. You can only dispute one particular item one time. You can dispute it again, but you have to have a really valid reason, right? But you can give any reason that you want the first time that you dispute it. So that's why it's really good for you to come up with a completely legitimate reason. And if it really is a valid reason, you should just work it out with the company, right? And the reality is they might be able to or interested in making it work for you. I've had that happen myself, and I've done that a few times, and it's worked fine. That next step is then going to the bureaus and then basically filing a dispute, disputing that particular piece of information.
Dates and so on, you could dispute the late payment as inaccurate, and if the company cannot prove that all evidence is indeed correct, Let's go on to the next one. Accounts and collections, and this stays in your credit report for 7 years. Now, like I mentioned, this happens when you're more than 150 days late on a payment. The bank just thinks, well, we're never collecting any of that anyway, so we're going to be writing it off as a total loss. We're going to be selling that debt to a third-party collections agency for pennies on the dollar, and then it's their problem. And that's usually the point where some third-party debt collections agency starts hounding you on the phone, saying you owe the full amount, and then starts resorting to scare tactics to try to get you to pay it. And that collections is also going to be showing up on your credit report. Now, when it comes to figuring out how to handle this, there are a few different strategies. Now, the first thing you should do is try to dispute it if you see any errors or inaccuracies. Like if you think there's an error on the credit reporting side and that you paid off the debt, but it's still showing on your account, then go ahead and dispute it. Then once you file that dispute, they have 30 days to respond. On the other hand, if you think there's an error on the part of the debt collector, you could ask that they validate the debt to prove it is indeed you that owes the money. Now, they're going to have to prove the validity of the debt and that it's actually yours, and if they can't do that, it is removed. And because debts like this are often bought and sold multiple times over those 7 years, there's a good chance there will be an error along the way that you could seize and take advantage of. And that way you could have it removed and improve your credit score. The second, sometimes you can negotiate to pay off the debt in exchange for removing it from your credit report. Now this one is a bit of a shady gray area because technically if the debt is true, then they should be reporting it as is. But sometimes they also want their money and they will agree to remove it if you pay them. So if that's the case, here's what you need to know. Debt collectors will often pay a small fraction of what your actual debt is and then try to profit anything above that. So that means, for example, if you have a debt of $10,000 that goes to collections, then maybe that debt collector bought that debt for $1,000, so anything above that is going to be their profit. So sometimes that means you can negotiate a $10,000 debt all the way down to a $2,000 payoff and get it removed from your credit report because those debt collection agencies would rather get some money and some profit than not collect anything. So again, it's always worth a shot just to see if they're going to do this. The third, we should talk about paying off a debt collector because it's another gray area because technically paying off a debt in collections is not really going to improve your credit score. Even though it'll now show as paid, it's still going to be on your report that you had an account that goes to collections and that will stay on there for 7 years. So if this is the case and you did pay off something in collections, then you could go and file a dispute with the credit reporting agencies. They will then try to validate that debt from the debt collection company. Now at that point, the debt collection company really has no financial incentive to respond to the credit bureaus, and a lot of the time, they won't even bother responding to it, so that means it will be removed from your credit report within 30 days. Now I do want to mention, do all of this at your own risk, and certainly do your own research before.
Yeah, so basically what happens is anytime you file a dispute, any of the company, whatever company it is that's reporting on your credit report, they have 30 days to respond to it. If they don't respond to it in 30 days, it's gone. So that's why it's a good idea to really dispute whatever is on there that's negative because you can get it removed if they don't respond after 30 days.
Before you pay off any debt collector, and always try to negotiate that debt.
All right, let's hop to bankruptcy and so this next section is maxed out. It's kind of obvious. This is actually number one in my opinion. Number one, what I mean by that is basically pay all of your revolving accounts to 30% or lower. If you have high credit card debts, you can go get a personal loan. I call the personal the financial strategy quinfecta because you actually gain a lot by doing it. But the fact is you want to exchange that lower interest rate of a personal loan for the high interest credit card debt, and then you lower your revolving balances, and you really can actually increase your scores by doing that. Other than that, if you have the money, you just pay it off. I mean, it's a smart move. You got to have that, you've got to have your, your revolving accounts at 30% or less.
Then, well, first of all, don't do that. But second, the fastest, easiest fix out there is just to pay down your credit cards so now you owe less money. That's going to almost immediately fix your credit score within the next week. Now here's the thing, bankruptcy is going to stay on your credit report for 7 to 10 years, and removing it is going to be very, very difficult, if not impossible. But as with anything I mentioned, if you can find any errors or inaccuracies in the reporting of the information, then go ahead and dispute it, and it's worth trying. And on credit report for longer than 7 to 10 years, then that's also worth disputing. The same also applies to foreclosures, which will stay on your credit report for 7 years. If the lender is no longer in business, then also go ahead and dispute it. Otherwise, unfortunately, this is really one of those things you're going to have to work around and not avoid. In most cases, removing either one of these is going to be extremely difficult unless you find an error, so it's more important to work around it and improve everything else that will boost up your score so that way this doesn't impact it as much. Now, in the past, I made a video on this showing exactly how to build up your credit from nothing and exactly how you could do this step by step, so instead of going and mentioning all of that right here in this video, I'm going to link to that as well down below in the description. And that's exactly how you can fix a bad credit score entirely on your own without paying any.
So there you go, everybody. That's a pretty good video. As I said, I could actually obviously do all that myself and organize it, but you know, as I mentioned, I follow Graham here, and it's kind of funny. I mean, now he's got almost 3 million followers, which is almost 3 times the amount as CNBC has on YouTube. So pretty fascinating to me. But basically, yeah. So those are all really the breakdowns when you look at, you know, serious items, you know, on your credit report, like bankruptcy and foreclosure, which are, you know, of course, serious. And then everything related to, you know, the payment history, which are of course serious. So everybody is different. You know, everybody who's got a credit situation, everybody is different. What I will tell you is, you know, one of the things that I do here is I also have a program for people where they can do a DIY, which is do it yourself, or a done for you kind of a credit enhancement. Like, you know, I hate to use the word credit repair, but it is kind of credit repair. I don't have any sort of link to actually put that up, but just go ahead and contact me, and we can introduce that program to you. It's basically a situation where we've got you know, 40 to 50 videos on the actual do-it-yourself, right? And those videos can show you how to do everything. A lot of times people just don't have the time to do it all themselves. And in fact, a lot of times we're working with people in either real estate agents or, you know, mortgage, someone, either a mortgage broker or a mortgage banker, and they have a client where they need to actually, you know, somehow repair their credit quickly. And that's where the done for you, where you come in and we will literally go in there and you know, do what we know how to do to actually, you know, remove a lot of the negative items. So there you go. That is your video here on things related to your credit score and how to actually fix a bad credit score if you want to do it yourself. And then there's resources for you if you don't want to do it yourself, or if you want to kind of do a partial kind of, you know, partially do it yourself and then have some assistance along the way. So there you go, guys. Hey, if you aren't already, you can generate leads, generate profits, or just generate income from your social media profiles. My program is called Profile Profit Machine, and you get to partner with me and the world record holder for the fastest website funnel to hit $1 million in sales, and that record is 28 days. Our website funnels have generated 20 million in revenue now, you know, at this point in about, you know, 2 or 3 years. So they're very, very good funnels. You can actually come in and you can clone our funnel and make it your own with as little as 90 minutes of training. If you have any questions about that, put that in the comments area as well. Also, I came out with a blueprint. It is a wealth and instant credit blueprint. I also cover investing, online income, business credit, and financial independence. There's also a guide at the end of my blueprint, which is all the groups in the US that offer a free credit score, and then all of the groups in the US that offer a free FICO score and the corresponding bureau with that FICO score. And it's only $7. Do you believe that? 63-page plus document. It's only $7, everybody. So that link is going to be below. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great week, and I wish you all a great new year in 2021 here. Thank you.